Hello guys, this is my first ride on the Harley-Davidson 2018 Fat Bob. This one is the 114 cubic inch version. They also have a 107, but this one is the most powerful. Yeah, let's see how it is, how it rides. It has Screamin Eagle exhaust already, so it sounds good. Yeah, let's go. Alright, let's go. Yeah, I like this. It's totally different than my MT-07, of course, but I've already ridden a couple cruisers before I started my YouTube channel, and the seating on this one is quite nice actually. It's got a solid seat, like it's firm, got a little backrest, and yeah, the position is great for a cruiser actually. Most of the time when you're sitting on a cruiser you have your feet like way forward and your arms are spread like hell. This one also has that a bit, of course, but yeah, it's comfortable, it's not cramped or anything. I like it. Let's see if we can find some nice roads to ride on and test this out. Alright, got some punch in there, of course. What else would you expect with a large motor like that? It's a bit getting used to that the turn signal controls are on each side. So when you're going to go left, you press the left one. When you go right, you press the right one. What I do like about it is that they turn off automatically. So that's nice actually. The dash is quite small, but it has all the info. There is even is an what is it, gear indicator, so that's good. Oh, I like that sound. It sounds great. I think we have to go over here. Yeah. The guy before me said you had to really push it into a corner, but so far I haven't really noticed that actually. It's quite easy to drive. Alright, back to the dash. So it has a RPM meter, speedometer, gear indicator, the time, fuel indication. It's quite low on fuel actually, and everything is there. What I don't like about it a bit is that you really have to look down to see your speed. So you can go quite fast on this one, but you need to look down for it to figure it out. The controls are feet forward, of course, but the yeah, the shifter is a bit high up, so I really have to put up my feet on there and then I can shift down. And the rear brake is the opposite. You really have to push forward a lot and then you can brake. That's something I think you need to get used to. And it's not really that big of a deal, and it's always adjustable. You have these rods over here that can be adjusted. The suspension is okay. It has an adjustable suspension, so when you stand still, then you can adjust it higher or lower, whatever you like. So that's new for the 2018 models of the Softail line. Yeah, one thing we cannot miss or not talk about is the design of this bike. The exhaust already is something that will pop into your eye. It's angled upwards, totally not Harley-Davidson style. It's bigger, it has mufflers on it instead of tubes, like that's normal. And of course, the other thing is the headlight. It's got this, yeah, crazy modern look, a bit post-apocalyptic. I mean, imagine being in a new Terminator movie, and this would be the bike they would pick. It's radical looking. Oh, it accelerates nice. And if you're above, I don't know what it was, I think 3000 RPM, then the exhaust comes alive. Great. So, the specs. I don't know all of it by heart, but I will do my best. This one is a 114 cubic inch motor. That's around 1850 cc's. The horsepower is always a secret with the Harley-Davidson, but the torque is around 155 Newton meters at, I don't know, probably 4000 RPM. It has big wheels also up front. The front tire is I think 130 wide, so that's bigger than your standard naked bike or whatever. I think you can say this is not your typical cruiser. Normally you have a soft seating, and this one doesn't. The exhaust is radically different. It's smaller. This whole bike is not really Harley-Davidson style. It's something new. And that's why I picked this one to test ride. I could have picked one of the 8 others, but I like this one the most. And what also is a bonus, Harley-Davidson are known for being expensive, of course. Especially here in Europe, we have the import taxes and whatever. It makes it really expensive. This one is one of the cheapest of the new bikes. It starts at 20k, 20,000 euros. And that's for the 107 cubic inch version, which for my taste is already plenty of power. That one has 145 Newton meters. And what also is a bonus is that a Harley-Davidson almost always keeps its value. I mean, I was looking at some used bikes in the store where I got this one from to test. The cheapest one I could find used was 12,000, and that one was from before 2000. So yeah, that's pretty expensive still for a used bike that's almost 20 years old. If you're not a cruiser enthusiast, like the guy in front of me for example, then I would recommend that you still try this one out. It's totally different. It has plenty of power, goes ridiculously fast. Some are complaining about the corner angle, but I don't find any problems with it. I mean, on the road you don't really push it that far that you will scrape your foot pegs on the road. So I don't think you will have any problems with that. but on the other side, it's expensive, really expensive, and for the same money you can buy a very nice Ducati or a KTM or a BMW, like the big Avenger bikes. And that's something to think about, because 23,000 euros is a lot of money. You could buy a nice German car for it. What else? You can buy a lot for it. And then you have one motorcycle, but it has a lot of fun. Yeah, I totally don't agree with the guy that rode this bike before me. It's quite nimble. You can just, you only have to touch the steering wheel, the handlebars to make it wiggle a bit. Alright, so you can also turn it around on the cross section. Alright, let's stop it here and take a look at the bike and the engine sound. So this is it, and these are the Screamin Eagle exhausts. They do have a muffler in it, but it's not removable. Let's see how they sound. Yeah. Over here you can see the adjustable suspension. You can put it tighter, softer. I just kept it as it was. The license plate holder looks really cool, I think. It also acts like a mud guard, and it keeps this part clean of the bike. So that looks really cool. Yeah, great bike. Alright, going over speed bumps slowly, or you will fly into the air. And speed bumps, we love it here in the Netherlands. You have them everywhere. What I also like about this, about Harley-Davidson handlebars, is that the grips are quite thick. I mean, these are way thicker than on my bike, and yeah, it makes it manly, you know. It's not a women bike, it's a man's bike. I'm doing 60 kilometers an hour now. I can just still flick it around and pretend I'm on a naked bike. Yeah, I'm really surprised by how easy it handles. I think the guy before me, yeah, he was a bit old, so he doesn't have strength in his arms, not the young nimbleness of me. Thing, the brakes are really good. If I remember correctly, yes, this one has dual disc brakes. I don't know if it's special on Harley-Davidson, and that makes it stop like a beast. Well, for a cruiser. Finally, I found a 6th gear. That's what also is different compared to my own small motorcycle, is that you don't shift gears that much. I mean, I could be in 4th right now and just spend my whole afternoon in 4th, maybe 3rd sometimes, like this, for a speed bump. But that's all you need. You can go 120 in 4th, and you can go drive, what is it, 40 in 3rd. So you can drive this one very lazy. What I don't miss, but what I could imagine people want to put on this bike, is a windshield or some sort of windshield, because I haven't driven faster than 100, I believe, and you get a lot of wind in your face. Of course, that makes sense when you're driving a cruiser, naked bike, something that doesn't have a windshield. On the highway you get a lot of wind on your chest, in your face, it gets noisy, windy, it's not pleasant at all. But we're driving a motorcycle for fun, and if you drive for fun, you never go on the highway. Also something that a Harley Davidson has, and I think most of the cruisers or the older ones that are big engines, is they have an air filter on the right side of the bike. What I've noticed in other videos and with other models is that it's quite far to the outside. It can get quite warm and your leg is touching it. Now, I don't really have a problem with it so far, but I could imagine you driving around on the highway, it gets warmer, the engine, and yeah, you just want to rest your leg against something, or pinch the bike with your leg so yeah, you won't fall off or something. It can get quite warm. Now I am wearing motorcycle jeans, so that may also be a difference. If you're riding with common leather or textile pants, then maybe you have less of a problem with it, because that's thicker, more heat resistant. But it's something to keep in mind. The clutch is actually quite, what do you call it? Light. So, it's a light clutch. You can just put it in. It doesn't need a lot of effort to use it. That's a good thing. Because normally big cruisers with big engines like this one have very heavy clutches. So when you want a clutch, then you really have to squeeze it. I mean, my father's motorcycle has that. It has a manually clutch. But this one is a bit lighter, which is good. So, in conclusion, who should buy this bike? I think Harley Davidson did a good job on designing this bike for the younger crowd. Maybe I am too young for this. I mean, I'm 24, but imagine you're 30, you have a nice startup company, you're a bit you are a bit of a rebel, and you want a cruiser, you want to be tough, I mean, you want to look mean, but you don't want an old one, I mean old styled one with chrome all over the place, looking like you're a grandpa, you know, with these little leather rope stuff hanging on the handlebars. Yeah, so Harley Davidson did a good job for that. For handling wise, it's quite nimble. You can throw it around, you can really twist open the throttle and drive like a maniac. Of course, don't do that. Yeah, this is really a great bike. I hope one day I get to test some of the other new Harley Davidson Softail models, but for now this one is really my favorite. It already was when I saw the looks of it, but now I've driven it, it's even better. I really like this one. If I had the money someday, when I would start a new company, you know, a hip one, then this bike would definitely be on my list. It's not the typical Harley Davidson you would buy back in the day, with the potato sound. This is really a new era, so to speak, for Harley Davidson bikes. They're modern, they have adjustable handlebar angle, they have lots of electronics in it, they have adjustable suspension. Yeah, you can do way more with it than the old ones. But what are the downsides of this bike? First, it's the price. It's hell of expensive. It's 23,000 base price for the 114 cubic inch engine. The 107 is 20,000, so that's already 3,000 euros you can save. I would recommend that, by the way. This one is 114. It's great, it's amazing, like Trump would say. But the 107 is only 100cc smaller than this one. And I can promise you, I haven't ridden it, but I know it is, that one is exactly the same to drive. So what I would recommend, buy the 107 inch, somehow get that number of the side of the air cooler on the engine, wherever it is on the bike, and just leave it like that and tell everyone it's a 114. Nobody will notice the difference. That's my recommendation for this bike. Buy it, but buy the cheaper one, relatively cheaper one, and have lots of fun on it. Alright guys, that's it for now. I will see you next time.